my name is Spencer, and this week I'm going to talk about the movie Chef, made in 2014. Before I get into my own opinions about this delicious film, I have some very tasty facts for you. First off, Jon Favreau was actually professionally trained for this film. It does not always appear that way just because of the way this movie was filmed, but I guess that's okay. He was trained by Roy Choi, a professional gourmet food truck chef, who not only helped start the LA gourmet food truck movement, but also helped in the creation of this film. This is also the first non-Iron Man collaboration between Robert Downey Jr. and Jon Favreau. Alright, time to get critical. First thing that I really had a problem with in this film was the writing. A lot of the time, it was okay, but there was times when it was just stiff and hard to watch. Especially between Percy and Carl at the beginning of the movie, like that was difficult. That didn't seem like father-son conversation at all. It seemed like adult male and strange child that you kind of know, like your friend's kid sort of conversations, and it just, I mean, I realize that it's kind of an estranged father situation, but holy moly, that was painful at some points. There was also a lot of explain it to me like I'm 5 or explain it to me like I'm a caveman moments, and those make my head hurt. Like, they're okay once in a while if it's part of a character, but when it comes down to it, the movie seemed to be trying to spoon-feed us lots of information that we really either knew or could have figured out easily on our own. There was moments when one character would say, "Hey, do you know about this?" And the other character would say, "Yes," and then that first character would still explain it again anyways, even though the other character had already said yes, so unless they're explaining it to the audience, we really didn't need to hear it. There was the biggest one that pissed me off was the food blogger thing. It really didn't seem like it was necessary to explain it, and it really did seem like he was just talking to the audience and trying to explain to us what a food blogger was, in case we didn't know that a food blogger was someone who wrote about food on the internet, because we couldn't have put that together from blogger, right on the internet, and food. Food. The second thing I was really critical about in this film was the pacing, the storytelling. It seemed to start really slowly. They mentioned the food truck at the very beginning of the film, but then they don't really get to the food truck until over halfway through. I mean, it might have been just my expectations about this being a food truck movie, but the first part of the film just seemed really slow to me. It seemed that there was a lot of moments where he could have been pushed to get the food truck, and they kind of almost hint at it happening, but and that happens 3 or 4 times before he actually goes to Miami and has to meet with Inez's father and her ex-husband in order for him to actually finally get the food truck, and then that's when the movie finally picked up for me, and that's when it kind of seemed to really move along, and the first part of the movie paced pretty well. I mean, at least film time-wise, you know, it moved along at a regular pace, at least. It had the every couple weeks or every week when he would hang out with his kid or he would work at the restaurant and something would happen. Like, that was pretty good. There was a lot more of that than I thought there should have been. Then they get to the food truck road trip, and that was probably about a week of time where they're just driving and hanging out in different cities, and I actually loved that part of the film. Like, that, I would have watched a whole movie of them just on a road trip around the country selling food out of that food truck. That was really cool. That was a really fun, funny, lighthearted, really good part of that film, and I really loved it. The storytelling was really good during that point. But then you get to the end, and I'd kind of grown to expect this pacing from this film, and then it jumps ahead a whole year, at least, to his wedding and him owning a restaurant. And that kind of frustrated me, because I'd kind of gotten into the swing of things of how this film was going to be paced, how the time progressed in this film, and then it just jumped ahead, and it seemed kind of unnecessary. I really would have liked the film to have ended with him and Ramses talking outside, I think it's just Ramsey, I guess, talking outside the food truck. That would have been a great ending, because that would have allowed me to make my own assumptions about how the characters live their lives after the end of this film. But I really felt like they kind of gave us that ending, and there was really no way for us to kind of make up our own and continue the story on our own, because we were told exactly what happens. And I like to be able to kind of take the world upon myself from a film and then make the rest of the story on my own. I do that with everything I watch, and it kind of seemed like that was stifled a little bit by the end of this film. A screenplay is not meant to be told on Twitter. Someday I'm sure they'll do it and someone will win an Oscar for it, but right now, screenplays cannot be told on Twitter, and it was hard to watch when it got to the points where there was scenes that pretty much relied almost entirely on Twitter, and conversations that revolved all around Twitter. And while those conversations have a place in real life, because people do talk about social media a lot, but in a film where you're trying to move along a story, it just hurts the continuity of the film. It just hurts how things move, how things are paced in the film. And I got annoyed by the animation in the end when you'd have a whole crowd of people, everybody is tweeting. Not likely that everyone in a crowd would be tweeting. And all you see is just a fucking wave of tweeting birds go off into the sky. It was disappointing. I think I almost shed a tear. I do like how they address the power of social media and how it works in our lives, and how we kind of have a lot of problems when we don't really know how what we put on the internet affects us, and how powerful it can be, and how bad things can get when you put things that shouldn't be on the internet on the internet. Like that, they did that really well. They addressed that problem in our lives really well. And then, they animated it and made it a little hard to watch. But other than that, way to go, Chef. Take on a hard issue. 1 thumbs up. And like a half. My final thoughts for you this week, it was a great film in some ways. It was a good film if you really liked food, if you really liked music, then it was a great film, because technically it was beautiful. It showed a lot of fantastic shots of food and fantastic shots of scenery, and it made it all look really good. But in the end, I watch movies for the story, and if you watch movies for the story, this might not be the best film, because it is kind of slow, and it is kind of poorly written at some points, and that took me out of the film, and I really didn't like it as much because of those things. But, as food porn, it was a damn good movie. A damn good. If you like food, like and subscribe, and leave your favorite food movie in the comments below. Also, leave anything you think I missed about this movie in the comments below, and any movies I should watch later. If you want to watch more of what I have to offer, right here. Thank you so much for watching. Unsilence your cell phones, and bye!